All right, welcome everybody. Welcome to Talking Investing. I'm Tom. George is going to be here. He's supposed and here he is in 30 seconds. Let me switch screens. George, I just went live. You're going live with us. And you guys should see, let me know, you should see me and George on the screen now. So I don't know if there's a 30-second delay or something, but here we are. What's up, George?
I fell asleep in the hot tub.
What a
Isn't that funny?
tough life, man.
It is.
Hello, Edmund. Hello, JJT. Hello, Brent, Keith, Jeff, Organic Auto. Brent, hello, says hello from the Netherlands. Oh, Brent says he loves the Netherlands. JJT says greetings from the Netherlands. That's right. Edmund from Dallas.
What is the Netherlands, by the way?
The Netherlands, you know.
Is that Holland?
No, Holland is Holland.
Is that Dutch?
The Dutch are Dutch.
It just seems like they're all together.
Then the Netherlands.
I don't know. It just seems like they're all together. So, Tom, what's going on with Bitcoin? Any movement?
Before I answer that critical question, this is a sovereign state, the Kingdom of the Netherlands.
Yes, you see? Yes, Netherlands is Holland. See? That's what messes me up.
Dutch.
Vermont. My,
Amsterdam.
My niece just moved from Vermont. She just moved back to New York.
Oh, do we have a hello from Vermont?
Yep.
Hello, hello. Yes, Netherlands is Holland. Hello from Vermont. Hello from the Philippines.
Filipinos.
Hello.
I had a boss that absolutely despised me. She was Filipino.
Is that
probably because I could never. Her name was Maria, but I called her Marie, and she did not like that. Maria.
Well, that was a pretty easy fix on your part.
But you know how it is. Once you know it's bothering her, I couldn't change.
It was all over from there.
All over.
Hello, Organic Auto. Hello, Steve Eckford. Hello, Ricky. Hello, Methodical. Barry.
Another a Canadian, huh?
Hello. We got hello from California. Alberta. All right, we got people from all over. So I hope everybody enjoyed the day. I don't know what you did, but it wasn't trade equities if you were in the U.S. or Canada.
I was hoping Cleanspark would go up today, just so you guys all know.
Cleanspark had the best day it's had in months today. It was exactly.
But I will
zero.
say, if you follow this coin, if you like this coin, I don't know, I'm going out on a limb. It is XRP. It's up it's up 179.
Did you say you're going out on a limb?
Going out on a limb.
This is your coin.
It's not my coin.
I had to give you the George for that one.
It's not my coin.
Let's see.
It's definitely not my coin.
Well, I wish I was better at pronunciation. Pardon my pronunciation, but hello, Perenni Bella from Canada. Also,
everybody knows Bella. Hello.
It's quite possible I pronounced both portions of that name incorrectly, so nothing personal. That's not my strong suit. More of a numbers person.
And I was listening to somebody that said Bitcoin could like plummet in one day and then go parabolic the second day. Did you see that the largest was it the, I don't know if it was it wasn't the largest wallet, but it was a person, it was a whale, and he bought like another 416 Bitcoin or something like that. And then here's an interesting little statistic. One out of every 150 bitcoins are now owned by. Anybody know the answer?
One out
One
of every 150.
150 is owned by
I think
somebody.
there's two. I think there's
There's
probably at
two?
least two answers to that
Oh,
question.
really?
I I I believe so.
So that's the question.
Carry the one divided by 21 million.
Thank you, sir.
Brent has one of the
Yes.
answers for sure.
Who-
MicroStrategy, stock ticker MSTR. Jeff
I'm happy
also
too,
said
Colton.
MicroStrategy.
Who else would it be, Tom?
I can neither confirm nor deny this, but I'm guessing the U.S. government might have a few Bitcoin.
Oh, really?
That's pure speculation on my part.
What's
Actually,
up, nerds?
we know it's not pure speculation. We know they still have 41,000 left from Silk Road, although I'm not sure if any of the dates have passed. It was 51,000. They sold 10, and they're going to sell the rest. But Seth, welcome. Hope you enjoyed Friday. Who had to work today? Who didn't have to work today? Hello, Colton.
I had to work. I had to go to. There was like a new restaurant that opened up, and they requested us to come visit, but they gave us free food.
There's
That
no
was
such
nice of
thing
them.
as a free lunch, except today when we got a free lunch.
Grayscale.
Grayscale. Oh, thank you, Martin. Actually, they hold significantly more than everybody else.
Wow. Does that scare you at all, guys? See, that's what scares me a little bit.
DEFCON 2, welcome. No work today. Kirby, hello.
You might want to change your name to DEFCON 3.
Which one's the worst one?
What do you mean?
I can never remember what order they go in. Do they count down? Does it get worse the lower you go?
I don't know. I
Or
have
do they
no
count
idea.
up?
What does it mean?
We got to watch War Games from 1982 with
What,
Matthew Broderick and Ali Sheedy. Also,
Tom, would you like to play a game?
exactly. They were either, I can't remember if they were raising the DEFCON or lowering it, but it was all in there. For those of you who have not seen that movie, it's an old one, but it's a classic.
Any shootings today?
Not that I'm aware of. It looks like DEFCON 1 is the worst, according to DEFCON 2 and Brian.
West
Seth
Bank.
said Coinbase. Oh, yeah, Coinbase has got to be holding a monumental amount of Bitcoin. You would think Binance is holding a lot of Bitcoin. Brent said classic movie. Definitely. Straight out of the 80s classics. Oh, if everybody could please smash the like button. I'm very curious to see how we do today. The market was closed today. I don't know what people are doing, so let's see if anybody wants to come and join us on the live stream.
Top Maryland political aide wanted on corruption charges died following FBI shooting. This was a couple days ago. Wow.
I did not hear about that one.
Huh. That's interesting.
Insane Clown Posse has a coin. I would not invest in that coin. That's not financial advice.
Why?
Does anybody even remember who they are?
Well, I'm surprised Rage Against the Machine doesn't have one.
They're
And it answered by gold. Really? I heard something. Let's see. Chat GBT. Let's see. Let's see. Buy Bitcoin. It said, "Get it off if you buy it. Get it off exchanges."
Yeah.
I'm actually gonna say I am a. Can we call ourselves professional crypto advisors?
No.
Why?
I mean, I suppose anybody can call themselves anything they want. So, in that regard, we
But
hold
what would
no
be wrong?
licenses of any kind, but I don't believe there is a license to hold for that title. So,
I think I should be called that.
you can. Hey, listen, that's your call. Seth is asking about ICP token. Talk to us, Seth. What are you thinking?
I want to know what you're thinking. Live.
Let's see. Kirby said, I have no idea with the market at the moment. Bitcoin's pumping over the last month. Miners are doing nothing. I mean, it feels that way. The miners for the last month, most of them have lagged behind Bitcoin. But year to date, and we're only in the first week of April, so we're 3 months and 1 week into the year. So just about a quarter of the way through. And the miners have done very well so far this year. Now, they have lagged behind, and I think we got to break through a certain point. We've been talking, it's not even on the screen. Let's go to the 4 hour. It's going to be better.
Dude, can you imagine? This ICP coin was up to $494. It's down to $4.99. Man, how would you like to take that ride? That's 99%.
How fast?
That's 99% down. All. Well, on May 21, it was 264.
A year ago.
Yeah. Just that one that was a rough one, you know what I mean?
Sourmelon Gaming said, I saw an article where they asked ChatGPT whether to buy gold or Bitcoin, and it answered gold. Well, I would submit to you that ChatGPT knows about as much about investing as that chicken that keeps picking the winner of the Super Bowl every year. I mean, I think he's got a real good streak going, but I don't really think he actually knows who's going to win the Super Bowl. I strenuously disagree with ChatGPT. And I'm not even saying I don't think it's time to have some money in gold. You know, there's a lot of stuff going on right now. So having some of your money in gold, a lot of people might think that's a good strategy, but if I had to say gold or Bitcoin, I think that's a no-brainer.
Do the companies that trade gold, do they have to have that amount of gold?
I don't know what the leverage amount is.
I know there's a big leverage amount.
That's why if you physically have your gold, you know you have your gold. Robert, happy Friday. Welcome to the stream. Barry wants to know, when's the new altcoin videos coming out? The bull run be over? Not my opinion. I don't even think the altcoins have started yet. Brent said, news of the day. Arkansas passes, quote, right to mine bill. Antminer S19 XP price premiums coming down. So I did not see this Arkansas bill. I'll have to look into that.
Going now, Tom, to read.
So Seth is saying ICP has a ton of promise. It was $400 a token. Now it's $4.99, $4.99. So obviously it's down massively, like everything is in the last year, unfortunately. But Seth, you're giving that one a unofficial thumbs up. I got it. Oh, my list. My list. Oh. False alarm.
Maybe somebody will go there and mine now. Does anybody mine there? Wait, hang on.
If they
Means
do,
a
it's not
group that
massive.
consumes more than 1 megawatt on an annual basis.
What is it?
It's saying it's if you don't consume more than 1 megawatt, then this doesn't apply to you. But if you do,
Well, if you don't consume more than 1 megawatt, you're not really a Bitcoin miner. I mean, you could be a hobbyist, but like these guys are between 100 and 1,000 megawatts. And the plants that they're building in Texas are 500 megawatts, 1 gigawatt, 700 megawatts. So does Arkansas have a plan that's protecting those type of things? Is that what we're seeing?
Yes, that's what we're seeing.
So Texas better be careful. People will go to the friendly environment. Brent said, physically owned gold, it's the only way to go.
Physically own it.
Was the morning data good or bad for the markets? I don't know what the markets would have done today with the morning data. I mean, some jobs numbers came out. You know, we got the ADP payroll earlier in the week. Let me see. I think I opened up. So, jobs reports. U.S. economy adds 236,000 jobs in March. Unemployment rate falls. Now, it fell from 3.6, which was the expectation. That's what it was last month, and that's what it was expected to be this month. It fell to 3.5. So, to me, they revised these enough where that's within the margin of error as far as I'm concerned. New jobs expected 230. It came in at 236. Average wages, I mean, this was all very, very, very close. You know, the ADP report came in way under on jobs, so it looked like maybe, that was going to be encouraging. So this might have counteracted that. But all of that put together, to me, I just don't think, the Fed's going to do what it's going to do. And there's not much these data points can do to change it at this point, I believe. Kirby's saying, could there be a case where Bitcoin hits 40,000 and the miners like Morrow will be stuck under 10 and Bitfarms under 1 and Hut under 2? It is my personal opinion. This is where I was going a few minutes ago. It is my opinion. So this is like the last 3 weeks right here. We had this giant, these are daily candles. So March 17th, which was 3 weeks ago now, we had a huge candle up and we crossed this dotted line at 27,000. You can see that has held every single day since then. So we've been above 27,000 since March 17th. But we have not been able to break out of... Why is this a... There we go. I don't know what just happened. Okay, so this line at 28.8, you can see we have never closed a daily candle above this. So we've been sandwiched in between these two things for 3 weeks. The Bollinger Bands are starting to squeeze something. We're going to get a move one way or the other, and I do believe if we can close a daily candle above this line, and this line goes way back to the last time we were above this line was June of 2022. So that's, coming up on, what, 9-10 months? So, and we never really got close to it. This line down here at 25,000 was 25,200. We hit that on a nice rally last August, so that was a long time ago. And we retested that once, and it took all the way from August of 2022 to March of 2023 to break through that line. But you can see the second we broke through it, even on that one-day candle, we raced right up to, you know, a higher level. We've held 27,000 ever since. We're stuck in a very, very tight range. I think that bodes well. I like what I see, but you know, we don't know. Is the next move up or the next move down? But when we get this kind of sideways consolidation, and it looks like there's going to be a bigger move one way or the other, I think it's going to be up. There's just not a lot of data that's going to come out at this point that, to me, is going to spook Bitcoin. And, you know, if the banking stuff gets worse, I think that's going to have a positive impact on Bitcoin. It did so far. So
I'm just in shock that we didn't get more of a push.
this line goes back a ways. This is a pretty strong line. And you can see, like, from May 10th to the flash crash in June 11th. So that's 1 month. We traded inside of this range for 1 month a year ago. And, you know, there's not a lot of activity in here. So this is another one, just like I felt like we would race through up to this line if we broke through this line. I think the same thing is true. There's a lot of dead space above here. I think we could go to some higher numbers. I'm getting more and more optimistic, which scares myself because, you know, you never know. But everything I'm looking at tells me that we're going to go sideways for a while, and when we move, the next move is up. So that's my personal strong opinion. The question is, how long is a while? And I know it can be exhausting. Going sideways like this is very frustrating.
I don't know. I'm kind of stuck. I still think Bitcoin's going down. I think I see it going down a little bit. It's just such a weird spot.
You think we're going down where? Let's see where. What's your thought? So let me just.
My thought is if do you think the stock market's going to go down anymore? How about that question? This is the United States stock market.
Yes.
The NASDAQ. You do.
I do. I think there's going to be a lot of volatility left in the NASDAQ this year. And we can bring up, this is Bitcoin. Let's go.
So, do you think Bitcoin has separated itself away from that?
I do. Yes. And I think we've really seen that. We gotta zoom.
I mean, that's the question.
This goes back to December of 2021. So you can see we had like a double top here back in late November and December. That's when Bitcoin hit its all-time high. That's when the indexes hit their highs. So we're down. We're still down. I'm going to go from this was the high. So, you know, we're down 22% from there. But conversely, and this is the NASDAQ I'm looking at, which is the one that most people say that's what the cryptocurrencies move with. On the flip side of that, we are from October 13th, we're up 25%. So, you know, we're stuck in the middle. So I mean, look what's happening. This is up, down, up, sideways, down, up, down, up. So, you know, who knows?
I'm looking at Bitcoin as a game right now, and I think that the powers that be, when they take out every asset class, they're also taking this out.
You just think we got another beatdown coming?
Does that make sense?
Across the board.
Yeah, I think it's coming across the board. And I mean, we're just not in a good spot for our economy right now. So I talked to a friend who runs a very large manufacturing company for trusses, and they're down 75%, that's astronomical.
Their orders are down that much.
Yeah,
That's crazy. Well, their prices aren't down.
right.
So that's what's
75%.
coming next.
So I don't believe Bitcoin has separated from the Nasdaq yet, and I think that once the Nasdaq goes down, and I think it will plummet, I think you're going to see Bitcoin go down. Not for a long time, but that's the reason I have that thought process. I hope that kind of makes sense.
I mean, especially on several days this week go to prove your point that they're still trading a little bit together, because there were days, one day Bitcoin was down a little bit, the Nasdaq was up a little bit, and all of the Bitcoin miners were up on that day. So you could say the Bitcoin miners in particular were following along with the Nasdaq. And then there was another day that was the exact reverse. Bitcoin was up, but the Nasdaq was down, and all the Bitcoin miners were down. So
I mean, that's the reason. If it was more consistent,
but I think on the big moves, when Bitcoin gets a big move, these miners get a big move. And I know it doesn't feel like it, but I want to go to a, let's see if I have this up. I just probably got rid of it, but I'm just going to use, and this is this is one of the leaders so far this year, but if you were to invest in Cypher, yeah, it's still way down, right? Because if you look back, this was at $15 back in September of 2021. So I won't even use that because that doesn't make sense. This was at late October, so that's around when Bitcoin peaked. This was at around, call it $10. And this got down to 38 cents. So, and that was not long ago. That was December 29th. So, three months and 1.5 weeks ago, you would be up. If you had bought it then, you're up 500%. So, now, most people did not buy 100% of their Cypher on the exact day that it bottomed out. I understand that. People have been dollar cost averaging in. It depends when you started. And I'm sure a lot of people sold along the way and lost a lot of money on Cypher. But if you've held it, I mean, a 500% return in 3 months, that does help. Especially if you DCA'd all the way along. But you got to be willing to hold, because you can see look at this one day.
my first Cypher SPY was 40 cents, not lying.
I mean, that's gold. Brent, so you're in perfect on that one. So, you could be in, if you started at or near the bottom, you could be in a scenario where you take 100% of your original investment out and you let the rest ride, and still the majority is still sitting in there.
I will tell you, about like a month and a half ago, was it a month and a half ago or 2 months ago? It was whenever they started really mining Cypher. We said to buy them, and you guys all thought we were idiots. Do you remember that?
Cypher,
Cypher.
Wolf, people, and obviously some people were on the same page as we are. Brent started buying at 40 cents, but most people couldn't care less 3 or 4 months ago about Cypher and TerraWolf in particular. And now a lot of people are very interested in those. But I would rather be Brent, who started averaging in at 40 cents, than somebody who's got to start averaging in today.
What made you decide to start averaging in, by the way?
Is this to Brent?
Yeah, Brent.
I mean, I'll let him answer on his behalf, but I can tell you that in this week, every single technical thing was just screaming buy, not just for Cypher, for Bitcoin, for the Bitcoin miners. They were, in my opinion, And you can go back and look at our live streams. I said so. These were raging buys at that point. These numbers started to get just absolutely ridiculous. Cypher at 38 cents. Bitfarms was at 37 cents. I mean, things got down to numbers that started to be like, you know, how afraid are you to buy a stock at 38 cents? How much money are you going to lose?
38 cents.
Yeah. So, you know, you don't have to spend too much money to go even just grab 1,000 shares. You know, and for those of you, everybody plays on a different level. So, you know, just play your own game based on the amount of money you have available. I would always tell people, and, you know, don't put money in that you can't afford to put in. But whether you're buying 100 shares or 1,000 or 100,000, it's the same exact principle. A 500% return in 3 months is a 500% return. So
I started to lose hope for CleanSpark. Anyone else? Me. I don't understand them.
Clean.
What do you think a reasonable return is on these miners right now from where they are? I know
over what
the
time
stream
frame?
went dark. The stream went dark, he said.
Oh, it did? Can you see
What's
us
funny?
now?
It's funny because I just looked at. I was like, only 42 people are watching. That's crazy.
Can people still hear us?
Maybe isn't Cypher too? Yeah, Cypher's. Is Cypher's too high to buy right now? That's the question.
First, let me ask.
We can see you. It isn't going dark for me. Somebody wrote.
Oh, okay. Good.
I thought it was because I was outside and I got a lot of sun and you guys were confused. So who's that? Dark guy on the stream.
Robert bought more CleanSpark. Just waiting for the run.
I know. How long do we gotta wait?
Shoot the Moon said we can hear but not see. And now Robert said we can see you. So it seems like it's hit or miss. I don't know what YouTube's doing to us today. I'm not saying it's their fault. I'm just saying.
You just, you know, it's, you know, some good, some bad. So anyways, what besides ciphers, of the other miners, are you still thinking that these are, you know, 5x if Bitcoin, let's say, goes to 60,000?
Absolutely. I have a lot higher expectation than 5x on the ones that I have a high level of conviction. Now, that does not mean, that I have 18 on my watch list. Not all 18 of these are going to the moon. In fact, some of them might go away. But
I was going to ask
the
that,
winners,
do you think any will go away? Do you think there are some?
yeah, I do think there'll be some consolidation. Some of these are so small right now that by having their business model is just going to make no sense at all, in my opinion. So I do think there'll be some consolidation. Everybody, I believe at this point, almost everybody, if not everybody, has drastically changed restructured their debt. So, you know, nobody's going to get run over by their debt unless we go back into an extended crypto winter. You know, if Bitcoin were to go back to 15,000 or 10,000 and stay there for a year, then a lot of these are going to go away. But, you know, if we continue to stay even reasonably healthy. Methodical saying, I expect a 70x by 2025 returns on my calculations. And I think there are some of these that will 70x. And I showed on the stream yesterday, Riot did 70x. It's 75x'd between 2020 and 2021. So this is not without precedent. This is what happens if Bitcoin does its thing. That's what's going to happen to the Bitcoin miners that, you know, I'll say win, that have chosen the right business model, remain liquid, scale up to the point where they're, you know, mining a lot of Bitcoin. Those guys could 20x, they could 30x, they could 50x, they could, you know, like Riot did, they could 75x. Who knows? I mean, some of these companies are $20 million market caps right now. They could 10x and be a $200 million market cap. That still makes them tiny. Miguel, hello. Some will fail the halving. This is Brent. Even some of the big ones will struggle, in my opinion. Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot more, and I think we're going to see a big shift. I will tell you, the big thing that I think that's going to be different about 2023, 2022, everybody was doing two things. You know, in 2021 and 2022, it was get as much exahash as you possibly can, and then it was mine as much Bitcoin as you possibly can. I think that in 2023, it's going to be a balancing act of mine as much Bitcoin as you can at the lowest possible energy cost that you can. And that is going to mean a lot of fluctuation in the amount of exahash that these companies are running, depending on, you know, whether it's peak energy and you know, a lot of these guys have fixed contracts, but there's most of the time there is a component where when there's a strain on the grid, you know, they got to pay more money or scale back. Also, I think you're going to see a lot of them start to, you know, at minimal times, you're going to see them overclock, and then you're going to get to another point where you're going to see them start to underclock machines. You know, Riot is doing a lot of immersion cooling. They really haven't started reaping the benefits of that. So, you know, their efficiency level is pretty low. They have a long way that they could go and still reduce, I believe, reduce the cost per coin and still mine more Bitcoin. So I think that's going to be the big, this is going to start to get real technical on the energy side, in my opinion. Hello, Ray.
So, question, do you think Any's a good investment at this point in time?
Any Sphere 3D?
Yeah, have you done any deep dive on that lately?
I personally look at Any, yes. They have not put out their monthly operational update for the month of March, but I follow them regularly, and I like what they're doing. I think their company had a massive turnaround. Now they're a different company. If you guys remember, they had the infamous Gatorade machine. Is that what it was? And they were going to be, you know, they put out a press, under previous management, they made a lot of big promises, including getting to 32 exahash in 2022, you know, and instead they got to like 0.1 exahash, so they missed that by a little bit. But new CEO, new management, new game plan, healthy balance sheet. They just got a lot of the miners that they've been waiting for, and they're installing them, and they should be up and running. So I'm expecting to see some big improvements in their monthly numbers. Now, they're not going to be one of the big dogs. They wanted to be one of the top 3 miners. That's not happening. They're I don't even know if they can get into the top 10, but they can 10x from where they are right now, in my opinion.
Do you think that the numbers based on like the stock price, Tom, that they could go quicker because they're like a lower stock price? You know what I mean? Do you think that has anything to do with it, or no?
Psychologically, really? I think some people trade on that, but that's mostly retail investors. I look at a market cap. I mean, a company's all about market cap. If its stock price is 5 cents, but it's already a $1 trillion company, then it's not 10xing, because that would make it a $10 trillion company. So it's critical to pay attention to market cap. And the same thing is true as companies dilute themselves, because a lot of people, in my opinion, I think the biggest mistake retail investors make is they do not look at the market cap. And when they see companies dilute, and half of this is my answer to CleanSpark, and I'm not saying this answers the whole question, but CleanSpark, their market cap continues to go down. So they're diluting. So when you dilute, you could make an argument that the stock price should go down. I would argue conversely, there's instances where you dilute and the stock price should go up, in my opinion. And after the knee-jerk reaction of all the retail investors that lose all their money, the sophisticated traders come in and snap it up for a low amount and make money. And I'll tell you that what was F-Cell. I did that on F-Cell 2 years ago. Everybody sold that thing. They did some dilution, and it went down 10% in one day, and I backed up the truck, and it was up like 800% within the next 3 months. Now, you're not always going to get that. That was also simultaneous with a time when, you know, some of these small caps were running at that time. So, you know, timing is also everything. But if you're not paying attention to market cap, it's hard to so when people go, CleanSpark stinks, they're diluting so much. Okay, well, let's say they've doubled the amount of shares outstanding. If their production's up 300% and their market cap is down from there, you have to ask yourself, does that make sense? Or are you so stuck on thinking about dilution and just being, you know, angry that they're diluting just on general principle that you think it's a bad investment? Because this is all about math. At some point, in my opinion, if you wait long enough, the vast majority of the times, at some point, a stock will cross paths with its fair value. So understand that means that at a lot of points it's below its fair value. At some points it's above its fair value. But if you wait long enough, all you're hoping to do is for it to cross paths with its fair value. And I think people are making a big mistake on CleanSpark. And like I said, I don't know when that changes. I don't know when it crosses path with its fair value, but for its market cap to continue to drop, think about it. How did they get, when you dilute stock, what do? You get money. So that means they have more money and they're worth less money. Not per share, in total. So a company that had $100 million, if they go raise another $100 million and they now have $200 million in the bank, should they be worth less money market cap wise than they were before they got that money? There is no math on this earth that justifies that. Now, that you could say, well, management's greedy and, you know, they all went out and bought yachts with it and all that money's gone now. Okay, you know, now you're starting to, but we know that's not what's happening at CleanSpark. We know exactly what they're doing. They're getting to 16 exahash from 0 2 years ago, 2 a year ago, 6 at the beginning of this year. And, you know, their goal is to get to 16. So we know what they're doing with their money. So if you think that the CleanSpark dilution is bad, that means that you don't think that Bitcoin is good. I mean, that's an if-then, right? Because that means you think the price of Bitcoin isn't going up because you know Cypher continues to mine, or I'm sorry, CleanSpark continues to mine more and more Bitcoin, right? They're mining 600 Bitcoin a month now, and they're going to more than double, almost triple their exahash rate. So even after the halving, they should still be mining a lot more Bitcoin than they're mining right now. So if you think they're going to fail, that means you think Bitcoin's going to fail. It's really that simple.
What are the percentages that Bitcoin could fail now that we're this far into it?
I mean,
and what I mean by fail is so that the miners are unprofitable.
Bitcoin failing to me would be, you know, if we get to the halving and Bitcoin's at $30,000, then it from a miner standpoint, it will have failed the miners and they're in big, big trouble. So if you think a year from now we're still going to be hanging out at 30,000 because we are almost 1 year out from the halving, and I'm not saying that's not going to happen. So I don't know the future. Maybe we're going to be at 30,000. Maybe we're going to be at 10,000. Maybe Bitcoin's going to be dead. I don't think so. I'm very bullish. I think we're going to be at numbers that are much higher than that. But if you think that we're going to be at $20,000 or $30,000 at the halving, then again, do the math. You know, this is 80% of what I'm doing here is just math, and it's not calculus, and you know, it's not theoretical. It's basic math, and it's very time consuming, and you got to strip the emotion out of it. But you know, if you run the numbers, that's what this tells you, right? The global network is not going to be at 400 exahash if Bitcoin's at $30,000 after the halving, because that means that most people are going to be losing a massive amount of money with every coin that they buy. Well, people aren't, even if they had the money to do that, they would not choose to do that, and most people don't have the money to do that, so it won't happen. So what does that mean? That means either Bitcoin is going up or the global hash rate's going down. I don't know, or some combination thereof, all right? Those are some of the variables involved in this, but you got to account for all those variables. And you know, I had somebody leave me. I'm going to get CleanSpark on. I've been getting hounded to ask them these questions, and I don't want to answer on their behalf. I'd rather them answer on their behalf, but I will tell you, I'm getting like vicious comments like, "Oh, you're a moron. Don't you know CleanSpark is
You are
diluting their stock?" It's like, oh, man, thank goodness you left that in the comments. I did not know that they were diluting.
You moron.
And it's like, listen, it's everybody has the right. If they think it's too much dilution and they don't like it, that's absolutely their right. And maybe a year from now they'll look back and go, see, Bitcoin's at 28,000. They got too aggressive, and CleanSpark was wrong, and you were wrong. And that could happen. But I am going under the assumption that CleanSpark is spending their money wisely, and that Bitcoin is going to have a significant run-up between now and the time of the halving. Hello, Alex. Welcome. Alex said, CleanSpark shares 1 million plus given to Mawson of their deal. 90% was sold by Mawson. This and lost confidence by retail investors, and the dilution need to be to 16 exahash target, all suppressing the stock. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot. That's a great list, Alex. There's a lot of variables that are punishing that stock right now. And that's why these all trade at different times, right? For Cypher, the last few months, this was the greatest time ever to be in Cypher. If you were in Cypher the 3 months before that, it was a total nightmare disaster. So depending on when you bought and when you sold, Cypher's either the worst investment you've ever made or the best investment potentially that you've ever made. So it is all about timing, and sometimes you got to wait for it. And sometimes when you wait for it, it never comes because something happens along the way. So there is risk. This is investing, so there is always risk involved in this. So, you know, for the people that want to argue, you know, there's risk in this stock, it's like that should be your premise walking in the door. Like, that's how this works. This is risk.
Risk on.
Brent said, did you see my comment on Fidelity lending Bitcoin miner shares? No, I did not. I'll have to try to find that. Fidelity is offering very, very high interest rates to lend certain Bitcoin miner shares, presumably to be, I think I meant to say shorted by someone else. So yeah, that means that the short interest is going up. That makes me feel better. Let's see. Shoot the Moon said, Tom, if Mara lost 700 million last year and it's half the Bitcoin production of cores, can they theoretically afford to lose or pay twice that amount and still pull it off by the end of next year with profits? So that's an interesting question. And the key to this is, and this is where the Bitcoin miners get super tricky. So Marathon lost $700 million last year on their income statement. However, if you dig into that, the vast majority of that are just accounting journal entries. So almost all of that was accounting journal entries, in fact. So they did not lose $700 million of actual cash. They were not cash flow negative from operations, $700 million. In fact, I'm going to go look because you're going to see it's shockingly less than that number. So the difference is Cores They actually owe $1 billion. So that's not a paper journal entry. They borrowed $1 billion real dollars, and they have to pay those $1 billion back. For Marathon, you know, they wrote down all their Bitcoin mining machines to half the price. Well, they already bought all those machines, so that's just an accounting entry. They didn't lose that money. They already spent that money, and they have the machines, and the machines are mining Bitcoin. Then they had to mark Bitcoin down because Bitcoin, you know, finished the year at a very low number. So that's a paper journal entry. They haven't actually lost any of that money, but they had to write it down. They took an impairment on goodwill. They took almost everything on their income statement was not cash. I'm going to see if I can just quickly find it and see, because But does that make sense? I mean, leave in the comments if you guys disagree, understand, don't understand. Do you know what I'm saying, George?
I have no idea what you're saying.
Is that because you're working and doing something else?
I have no idea what you're saying because it doesn't make any sense to me. Explain it again.
Let me find the statement of cash flows. So net cash used in operating activities, $176 million. That's on their statement of cash flows. So to run their business, it cost them $176 million. And remember, that is because they didn't sell any of their Bitcoin for most of the year. They hodled their Bitcoin maybe all year, right? So that's negative cash flow. The thing that they got, they didn't go convert to cash. But even with that said, it's only negative $176 million versus, if you look at their income statement, right, it looks like they lost $700 million. Income or loss before income tax is $708 million. So you can see most of this was non-cash items. If you go through here, depreciation, $78 million. Amortization, $22 million. That's not cash. That's not cash. Realized and unrealized gains on digital assets held within the investment fund. That's not cash. Impairment of digital assets. That's not cash. So they didn't actually impairment of mining equipment, $300 million. See all these items that are not cash? So a lot of those items they took a pounding for in 2022. But the fact is, now that they've written all that off, their 2023 financial statements have the chance of looking spectacular because they just wrote practically all of their assets off in 2022 as if the company were, you know, half going out of business. So these are write-offs on top of accelerated beyond the, you know, depreciation. So you can see the depreciation of their equipment was $78 million. But then they said impairment of miner equipment because the price of miners went down so much. They're saying even after depreciation, our miners are worth so much less than we have them on the books for. We're going to write off $333 million. That's part of their loss for the year, but there's no money that changed hands. So that's just $333 million they don't have to write off in 2023 and 2024. So there's a flip side to this equation. 2022, and trust me, it's not inappropriate, but all the Bitcoin miners did it. 2022 was a nightmare, so they tanked their income statements. They would have been stupid not to. And again, I'm not saying they did anything wrong. This is what anybody would have done in their shoes. You take every one of these write-offs you can take. You clean these books up in any way you possibly can so that in 2023 and 2024 and 2025, all of a sudden, you're starting to have earnings per share. Guess why? Because you wrote everything off a few years ago. You wrote everything down. You wrote you wrote your equipment down by $332.9 million. Does that make any more sense? Or am I still just ranting?
No, you're good now.
I don't want to rant. I'm just saying.
You're not ranting. No. So here's the next question. Right now, with all the Bitcoin miners had a little run up, where's the best value? I I think you're going to say CleanSpark.
I think for me, it's an absolute no-brainer.
Yeah.
And let me see, hold on. Let me find a later. I didn't do this week's yet. What?
Read the last comment from Mr. Andrews. You see what he said?
Yes. Tom, one man's love for interpreting financial statements is another man's Chinese water torture. That's why we love you. And Defcon said, thanks, Tom. I know. People think I'm crazy that I could get passionate about an income statement, but it is this is what affects this is how stocks get overpriced or underpriced, and this is part of seizing an opportunity, but it does take a long time because, the market doesn't instantly, efficiently account for these things. So we got to wait for it. And that I think is what's happening with a lot of these companies. Like Marathon, just wait and see Marathon's 2023 financial statements. I'm thinking by the third or fourth quarter, most of the Bitcoin mining companies, despite the fact that I expect an increase in the difficulty level for the rest of the year, I think you're going to see earnings per share out of most of the large Bitcoin mining companies this year.
Oh, you think they can be profitable this year?
Yeah. I do. And if they're not, they should call me because I'll give them non-financial advice for free. Non-financial, not advice.
So CleanSpark, everybody's saying wolf.
Let me show you why I'm a little bit. I love that company, but let me show you why I don't think that's where the best value is.
That's why I'm asking.
Okay, so let's go to this one. This was as of last Friday. So it's now 1 week later, so I need to update these charts tonight, and I'll redo this over the weekend and put out new videos. But, so adjust for 1 week. If you take a look at these things, you've got... So what were we just saying? Wolf? So Wolf is only up 41%. So from that perspective, you got CleanSpark up 31%, Wolf up 41%, and Wolf is one of the companies that is ramping up. They're going to start having some reasonable production. They're going to compete to be like a top 7 Bitcoin miner from a production standpoint. CleanSpark is pretty much locked in at number 3. I don't think there's another company that can pass them in the year 2023. So I think they will be at least number 3 for the entire year, if not number 2. They stand a chance, just like last year, of maybe having some months where they're the number 1 Bitcoin mining producer. And again, I'm excluding Core Scientific because they are in Chapter 11, so they could mine all the Bitcoin, and they have to just pay their debt with it. Obviously, it's helpful to them, so it's a good thing for them, but it may or may not be a good thing for the shareholders. So in any event, these two stocks do jump out on this chart, right? So Riot, which is one of my bigger investments, they're already up 195% this year. They're already the largest market cap. So if I had no investments in any of this and I were to start investing today, I certainly would not start with Riot. Right? I'm glad I did back then, and dollar cost averaged in on the way down, and that's working out for me now. But my next dollar isn't going to go into Riot, and my next dollar isn't going to go into. Let me go to a different chart. So, that's why I do all these different charts. When I look at this chart, I go, hey, what are these down here? Are these an opportunity, or are these just a disaster? Right? How come Riot's up 195% and Stronghold's up 29%? Is there a reason this is lagging so far behind? If the answer is yes, there's a reason, then you stay away from it. If the answer is no, it just hasn't had its turn yet potentially, then maybe there's a lot of room. So this is one chart that I look at, but then another chart, and again, I update all these every week, and I do a video on this every weekend. This was this was last Friday. This is market cap. So when I look at Cipher, I'm starting to get a little worried. Remember, Cipher's up 500% in the last 3.5 months. Well, that has now made them the third largest Bitcoin miner by market cap. They're much larger than Hut 8, who has 9,000 Bitcoin on their balance sheet. Right now, Hut 8's production has gone down. So Cipher is outproducing Hut 8, no contest. But the balance sheet is also no contest. Hut 8's balance sheet is much stronger. You've got Hive. I mean, Cipher's twice the market cap of Hive. It's more than twice the market cap of Bitfarms. It's more than twice the market cap of CleanSpark. And my worry with TerraWolf is they've kind of caught up and found their place in market cap. They are now on even footing with CleanSpark and Bitfarms, whereas in the past they were much, much smaller market cap. So again, I think they're, and I do think all three of these are under. So I'm not saying Wolf is a bad spot to put. I'm just saying they've already done some of the catching up versus like we were talking about Any. Any was at $25 million market cap, right? If these guys are going to succeed, then, you know, they have to 10x. And I don't know what period that's in, you know, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, whatever it is. But, I mean, $25 million is a nano cap company. And they do have, by the way, they have they just got 10,000 more machines, the 19s. So they're going to be at, by the end of April, I believe they are going to be at 1.5 exahash. So that is not in line. This market cap is not in line with a company that's at 1.5 exahash, in my opinion. So I think that's a potential opportunity. But you got to weigh it with the fact that they did have to restructure their entire business. They have missed all of their marks over the past. Now they have all new management. So, you know, to me, that says, you know, you got to take a close look at them. But that's where I see opportunities. So the ones that I see on both of these lists, that really helps me. If they're lagging behind in growth and their market cap is still small and they're leading in production, like for instance, let's go look at, oh, I got to go to a different chart on that one. So here, like Cipher, you know, Cipher and Bitfarms actually I think are going to switch spots this month, but they're in the same neck of the woods. They're going to, last month Cipher was 4 and Bitfarms was 5. This month Bitfarms is going to be 4 and Cipher is going to be 5. So, you know, that's top 5. I like having a Bitcoin miner in the top 5. Which one stands out as out of whack? CleanSpark's number 3. And they're one of the smaller market caps. They're smaller than most of these that are behind them. So to me, that's why I'm saying market cap, not stock price. So if I
But how do you look at their assets?
Well, you can look at their balance sheet and see what their assets are. I mean, for most of these companies, their assets are, they have some cash. Really, only Marathon, Riot, Hut, though they have big stacks of Bitcoin, so a lot of their current assets are cryptocurrency. Hive has a decent amount, much less than the others, but they're the only other ones really with a decent amount. Actually, Bit Digital has some as well. The rest of most of these, they're not holding any cryptocurrency. So most of the assets are in cash or, you know, and then they have long-term assets, which are in, depending on how vertically integrated they are. Some of them are just straight up mostly Bitcoin mining machines. Some of them are Bitcoin mining machines, mining facilities, energy, you know, all the... But if I look at CleanSpark, let's go look at Argo blockchain. Like Argo blockchain, and I asked this on the live stream the other day, and there was not one person on the entire live stream that was investing in Argo blockchain, and there was not one person even interested in a video on Argo. So that's how out of favor they are. They had to sell most of their facilities, so they're down to 70 million in market cap. So they are smaller. So if you compare that, where were we? Oh, I could have just gone right here, right? Argo was at 80, so they're on the way down. So, that's what you got to compare. How does Argo compare with Bit Digital? They're pretty close, in market cap.
How does BT?
Yes. How does CleanSpark compare with Hive? Because Hive has a much bigger market cap. So which one would you rather own? So, and these aren't, they're not straightforward right or wrong answers either. You got to use your own judgment. What's their business philosophy? Where do you think they're going? But in a snapshot in time, these companies do have a valuation that you could put on them. And in my opinion, the ones that are the most undervalued are Bitfarms and CleanSpark, I would say, in my opinion. Any is very undervalued, but that's a nano cap stock. So these are always carry a lot more risk with them. They're so small. But, risk reward. So it depends on what your risk tolerance is. Right, and like I said, Riot, Riot's already so much bigger than all these other companies, and so is Marathon that, Riot's not doing a 75x from here. It's already up too much. So if you want a 75x, you probably got to take your shot down here somewhere. But if you're happy with a 10x or a 15x, I bet you these two, they have a very reasonable chance. If Bitcoin has a nice couple of years, they'll probably 10, 15x. So that's some of the best returns you can get in the stock market. So, it's nothing to shake a stick at. Even if they were to 8x, that's incredible return on your investment.
What should you expect to do as an investor? What should you expect your return to be?
It depends on what your level of risk tolerance is and, what your risk profile is. But in most investors, if they get 5, 6, 7, 8% a year, most of the investing world for most of the history of investing, 7%'s been considered doing a good job a year. So I'm talking about, a 7x is 700%.
So that's what you're talking about, 7%.
Right, and that's the return on investment if you're just gonna invest, put your money into a safe, the SPY, which mirrors the S&P 500. Those are the types of returns you can expect over a longer period of times.
So my negative 70%, that's bad.
Negative 70%, that would be considered not so good.
I've never had success ever in my life in the stock market.
Well, you got to stick with it, or you don't. It's your decision. But if you're not in it, you're not going to have success. You're not going to have failure either. So, it's a double-edged sword. Kirby's saying, so where is my free membership? So we're going to give away a free membership, but all we have the ability to do is give one away at random, so I don't know who's going to get it.
Oh, we're giving out a free membership?
Yes, free membership. One free membership today on
Here, I'll do it. Membership
yeah, you
gifting.
can do it. I just
buy membership for multiple gifts. Buy gifting. Okay, whoa.
You can gift one membership.
I'm gonna go with 5 because I'm feeling.
All right. Well,
Let's see. Gerb.
It's everybody's.
Here we go.
It's 5 people's lucky day. George is going to go.
You ready?
Not 1, but 5.
Ready?
Did you do it?
Yep. It's going through now.
Wait for it.
Your
Kudab
gift has
gifted
been enough.
5 memberships. So I don't know if it's going to notify you guys. Scapegoat got a membership.
Oh!
All right, welcome to Talking Investing.
There's 3.
JR a membership. Benny a membership. Yeah, where's the other 2?
I don't know.
All right, welcome to Talking Investing. Mark Twain.
Oh. Okay. I'm feeling really generous. I'm going to do another 5. See if I can get it.
Another 5.
See if he can get it.
All right, welcome to Talking Investing. Fable, welcome Barry, welcome JR, welcome Scapegoat, and welcome Mark Twain, who I know has been with us for a couple of years probably, I bet. So
there's 5 more. Ready?
All right, welcome to Talking Investing.
Gerb, if this doesn't get you this time, man, don't buy the lottery.
We tried. That's 10. All right, welcome to Talking Investing. Eric? Ed? Wait for it.
Do you think they look at like the number of times people have texted or like, put in the...
It's supposed to just be absolutely random, but I don't... Who knows what they do? Bitcoin Rules said, Happy Easter. Any news about... Oh, Canon, or however you pronounce that, because I pronounce it incorrectly. I don't think it gave away your other 5.
You know what? It gave a couple. You know what's going to be interesting? To see how many people recognize you at the conference.
Oh.
You know that?
I'm going to go in disguise.
I mean, I don't think anybody will recognize me.
Well,
I need more shirt ideas. I need more shirt ideas too, guys.
All right,
I think
welcome to Talking Investing.
Are you Nakasomi? What is it? What's that guy's name?
Satoshi. What is it?
Satoshi Nakamoto?
All right,
or
welcome to Talking Investing.
Kirby!
All right, there it is.
That's awesome.
You asked for it, you got it.
You get stickers now.
All right, welcome to Talking Investing. Congratulations to everybody who got memberships. You can thank George specifically. I was going to give 1 membership away today. George,
he's a cheapskate.
George was feeling lucky, so welcome to 10 new members. Congratulations.
What does it cost us after? I wonder I'll tell you what it costs us. I mean, you pay them a third, right? Or how much do you end up paying them?
Yes.
Is it a third?
It's 30%.
Wow.
Yes. I'm with Tom's shirt. I feel like nobody's going to know who... Nobody knows who I am.
It's funny, though, to see all those people. I'm thinking about volunteering this year. Because I'm too cheap.
You want to get in on the volunteer ticket instead of the whale pass?
Yeah, so I've been paying attention to the volunteer stuff, right, guys? Listen to this. And you have to volunteer for X number of hours to get a free pass. So I said to them, well, my time's worth more than other people.
All right, welcome to Talking Investing.
So I should get a better pass. And they didn't agree with me.
Yeah, that's a pretty tough sell. Rock, welcome. Welcome.
It's not a tough sell for me. It's pretty straightforward,
well,
Tom.
It's an easy decision on your end, but they don't know that.
And I always love it. You talk to a whole bunch of people that work there. Why are they better?
Congratulations to the 10 people that won memberships. I'm sorry to those who did not, and thank you to all the members who are supporting the channel. Much appreciated. Rock said he's late. I'm late. Well, welcome. Welcome.
I'm trying to think. So what's another good shirt idea? I'm with Tom. I do think that's a funny one.
Michael said, I need more help on understanding Bitcoin and the whole market with my health issues. Oh, I'm sorry to hear about your health issues, Michael. I don't know if you've elaborated on that in the past, but I hope everything goes well.
I'm sure his health issues are freaking... his health issues are probably dealing with Bitcoin.
So
I know they're not.
Michael Anthony's asking, how did they win a membership? George gave you. Any member can gift a membership, so it gives it to somebody who's on the stream, and it's supposed to just do it at random. So I don't know. I don't think you can pick somebody. Maybe you can. I don't think you can though. I think it's random.
I won't complain so much, just a bit. My time is worth more. I'm the eye candy you've been looking for. How about that? Shirt idea. Who is Tom? That's a good one.
Who is Tom is a lot better. There we go. Who is Tom? Who the heck is Tom? Methodical.
We got 5 more coming. Thanks,
These
Methodical.
5 are thanks to Methodical.
Dude, you better get that interview with Prager.
Yeah, that's trust me, that's already written in pen on the list.
Oh, it's in pen.
All right, welcome to Talking Investing.
Let's see who goes.
Oh, Seth, good point.
What?
He said not true. I picked you out at the last conference. Seth did notice me at the last conference. So we actually, Seth and George and I had lunch and spent a bunch of time together. And
I thought it was because I said I would pay for your lunch.
You didn't pay for Seth's lunch, but he did. You did. You're the winner, Seth. I think you're the only one who found me at the conference last year. So, and we had a very cool lunch table that day. There was a lot going on. But it's like the cafeteria in high school, the way they work it there. Hope maybe that'll be better this year. Let's see. Brett was gifted a membership. Work Obsession was gifted a membership. Keith was gifted a membership. Congratulations.
All right, welcome to Talking Investing.
It's not going to be your 21 million. What was it? 21 million reasons.
All right, welcome to Talking
Bitcoin
Investing.
is awesome.
Ryan was gifted a membership.
Is there something about the
You
number?
get a membership.
Is there something about the 21 million?
All right,
Like-
welcome to
like
Talking
what?
Investing.
Is there like the number 21 million? Is there something about that number that is significant?
I know of no significance to that number. The only significance, to my knowledge, is that that's how many Bitcoin that there's going to be when they're
All right,
done.
welcome to Talking
And
Investing.
really, there's never really going to be that many in circulation because already millions of them are lost. And once they're lost, they're gone forever. DEFCON 2 was gifted a membership. Now you can lower to DEFCON 3 now.
What, Michael? What, they classify it as in like different, what is it considered? Like stage 1, stage 2, 3, and 4. What did he say? I'm just curious. We'll keep you in our prayers, definitely, sir.
Absolutely. DEFCON 2 said awesome, thanks.
So you got to ask YouTube to give you out the membership because we just pay the money and then they pick it out. They pick it.
Yeah, they pick them. I don't know. It's random, I guess. So any member can give away a membership. Apparently 5 memberships because George just did that, and sorry,
Methodical.
Methodical did that as well. So thanks again to Methodical.
So we have to decide now. Is you're saying CleanSpark is the best quote unquote value, as in because it hasn't had the biggest pump so far. That's
Right.
all you're saying. You're not saying it's the best value overall.
I'm saying that right now, because it is lagging so far behind, that for me, that has the most potential run up. And again, you know, there's some others like any might even have a bigger run up. But to me, as you get into these nano cap stocks, your risk does go up a little bit. So balancing out risk, reward, and looking mostly at, let me go back to the chart. Looking mostly at this chart where you'll see CleanSpark on the year is up 36%. I mean, this is perfect because, and this was last Friday. DigiHost is up 361%. So DigiHost is up 10x what CleanSpark is up. So is that because CleanSpark did 10% dilution in the first quarter? Is DigiHost is up right 361% and CleanSpark's up 36% because of 5 or 10% dilution? That's the math I'm doing, just so that you guys understand. I realize there is ramifications to dilution. I'm just saying they do, mathematically in no way do they make sense to me when I look at this chart, particularly based on the fact that when you look at this other chart, oh, that's not it. So Bitcoin by production, here you can see this was February. Core Scientific beat this in March. I think 1,410 or something to that effect. So I'll update this because now most of these are out. So for March, so you'll see in February, CleanSpark mined the third amount of Bitcoin. March is the same thing. Marathon is still going to be number 1. They mined 825. Riot is going to be number 2. They mined 695. And CleanSpark is going to be number 3. They mined 598. And by the way, the people in 4th are down here in the low 400s. So, you know, CleanSpark's mining 50% more Bitcoin in 3rd place than the 4th place Bitcoin miner. So it's not even close yet. They're a much smaller market cap than Cypher and Hive and Hut. So that's the way I look at it. And it's not my only investment. It's not like I got 100% of my money in CleanSpark and I'm, you know, betting the farm, because I don't think anybody should do that on any stock. But I'm just saying,
I did that with CleanSpark, just so everybody knows.
Yes, but to be fair, the percent of your money that you put into the stock market is a small percent. So if you're going to do that and you choose to pick one stock, Ray is asking, Tom and George, what kind of return do you expect Mara or Riot will give you if Bitcoin reaches the next cycle peak in 2025? What's your guess or estimate? 5x, 10x, 15x, 20x? Yes. 5x would be very disappointing to me by the middle of 2025 for both. Now, unless they fail to execute. If for whatever reason something happens to those companies and they fail to execute their plan, then that would be a different story. But if they continue to do a good job and execute and get to where they're going, and Bitcoin stays healthy, then a 5x, in my opinion, would be a big disappointment. You know, something between a 10 and 15x is what I expect, and I know there's a lot of members that think it's going to be a lot more than that.
I researched the benefit of Tom's membership. Here they are. Tom and George. No, Tom, tell them what you get for the membership. What you do?
Well, there's every single week I do a deep dive on a stock, and every Tuesday after the market closes, we have a members only live stream. So the members vote. So I don't pick the stock. The members contribute stocks that they have interest in learning more about, or maybe that they are invested in that they think are good investments. Most of the time, it's a stock I don't even know. So I start from scratch, do a full deep dive, and put out a video for the members only. So, there's 20 or 30 or 40 videos in there sitting. If you join today, obviously you get access to all those videos that already are sitting there. And, we've had some excellent companies. We have a really great members group, so they continue to mostly pick very high quality companies. There were a couple whammies in there, but, no matter what, it's a deep dive and it's interesting. And then we have a members-only Discord, because I will tell you, we do have a free Discord. So, you guys are free to join us on the free Discord, no pun intended. But the members-only Discord is, in my opinion, I interact with that on a daily basis because it's having a much higher, more meaningful conversation with the members only. Because when stuff is free, you always get a certain amount of jokers that join up and take the conversation in a direction that's not necessarily productive. So, I like
It is funny. I haven't been on it I don't know why I got off it again, but
I spend most of my time only. So if you're leaving also, if you are a member, I read 100% of member comments on all of my videos. Because I used to read every single comment on every single video. It's now gotten overwhelming to where I just can't do it. But if a member leaves a comment, I read 100% of members' comments. I answer probably 50 or 75% of those as well. Ryan is saying Cypher Iris, which is stock ticker IREN. Fable is saying 10 to 15x is what I expect from Riot in 2024, 2025. So you're on the same page that I am. I think that's what's reasonable. If Bitcoin does what I think it's going to do, and if Riot, doesn't fall down in some major way, operationally speaking. Mark
so
Twain
you don't
said,
think
I'm going to write you a novel, Tom. If you write it, I'll read it. Oh, are you talking about in my... Oh, boy. You're going to write me a novel in the comments section?
Yeah, that's what he's saying, yeah.
Well, I'm going to have to read it. Make it interesting, please. I mean, you are Mark Twain, so it ought to be a good one.
Okay, so here's my next question, Tom. I'm sorry, I get a lot of questions.
Ask away.
I hope these are good questions, guys. So, if Bitcoin doesn't move, then it's a failed project. If it doesn't double, at least from where it is now before the halving.
Is that your statement, or is that your
That's my question. That's my question. Is then...
Yeah, I would
did
say...
we fail then?
Yeah, if we get through the next halving, and let's say we get 6 months beyond the next halving, and Bitcoin hasn't hit an all-time high, I will view that as a failure. And a lot of the Bitcoin mining companies will view that as a failure because their business model is not going to work very well if Bitcoin is hanging out at 40,000 or 50,000. And certainly if it's still down at 30,000 or 20,000, that's going to be a disaster scenario for a lot of the Bitcoin miners. And even the rest of the Bitcoin miners who have, fortresses for balance sheets, let's say they've built up liquidity of $500 or $600 million. Do they want to spend it all? By 2025, if Bitcoin's only at $30,000, do they want to spend that mining for Bitcoin and holding it?
So what you're saying, there could be a chance like the exahash will go down once the halving happens.
If Bitcoin doesn't go up, the exahash will go down. So far, it's been the worst of both worlds because we're heading into a halving. the price of Bitcoin has lagged behind. We just went through a crypto winter. I think it's over. Maybe it's not. Who knows? So the price of Bitcoin has gone down, but at the same time, in anticipation of the halving, the Bitcoin network has never been bigger or stronger. So it's at its all-time max. So the difficulty level is at its all-time maximum. So this combination is awful. That combination, people will hold, the Bitcoin mining companies will hold on and continue mining Bitcoin through the halving, even in this bad scenario, in anticipation of the fact that they expect a gigantic move in Bitcoin at the halving. If that doesn't happen, then they will already be into a couple of years of losing money hand over fist, and now it's going to get twice as bad. So people will bail. I mean, it's just it's economics. You're not going to get a world full of people to say, after that many years, because remember, that means then at that point you'll be 8 years. In 8 years, right? Bitcoin hit 20,000 in 2017. So it's by 2025, if 8 years later it's still at 20,000 or 30,000, then I think it's absolutely fair to say that it is a failure, right? Because that return on investment, now all of a sudden you're talking about the kind of performance you get out of gold. It held its value at least, but, you're not. That's not why people are in Bitcoin. They're not in it for 2% returns annually.
Next question then. I hope these are good.
All good questions.
Is this Fed now thing, does that help or hurt Bitcoin?
I just really feel like it's not going to affect Bitcoin. I think everything. So as stuff happens on a day-to-day basis or a weekly basis, for instance, when FTX happened, Bitcoin crashed down to $15,500. But even at that time, I said, I think this is artificially low. This is false price action, and this will correct. It took 2 months, and we went on a gigantic bull run. So when things happen, I think they can affect Bitcoin in the short term, but I don't think they're going to affect Bitcoin's trajectory over the course of time. So if you're looking out 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, I don't think a Fed Now system is going to interfere with where Bitcoin is going. I mean, Bitcoin has its own list of attributes that give it value. So you either believe in those or you don't believe in those, but Fed Now really isn't going to change any of those. Mark Twain saying rate hike of 25 at the next meeting, then a pause, then cuts. So I think most of the market thinks what you're saying, Mark, because although the Fed continues to say they're nowhere near ready to cut rates, et cetera, the wind keeps changing directions pretty fast on them. So I don't know that it'll be 3 in a row that happen, but I would say by the end of the year they'll be cutting rates, and they're already doing massive quantitative easing. So some of the biggest they've ever done in their history.
Okay, here's another question. So why not just own Bitcoin?
You can own Bitcoin straight up, and a lot of people do own Bitcoin, and you might want to have a diversified approach. You own some Bitcoin, you own some Bitcoin miners, and you have whatever else you may own in your portfolio, gold, silver, stocks, bonds. But the Bitcoin miners have been in the past, and theoretically the ones that do a good job should be a leveraged play. So as Bitcoin doubles, your Bitcoin miner might 10x or 20x or 30x. So, there's the safety of the Bitcoin because you've got your money and you 2x'd, which is outstanding in a short period of time. But you're unlikely to pull a 20x in Bitcoin. And if you do, then you're probably going to pull a 10,000x in your Bitcoin miner.
Say that again?
If Bitcoin miners are a leveraged play, and the better Bitcoin does, the more of a leveraged play they become. So the higher the price Bitcoin is, the more leverage you're going to get out of these miners, because even, at Bitcoin 250,000, the cost per coin starts to become a lot less important. I'm not saying it's irrelevant, but right now it's costing these companies 7,000, 10,000, 13,000 to mine a Bitcoin. Even if that tripled and went to 40 or 50,000, who cares if Bitcoin's at $250,000? They're making $200,000 every time they mine a Bitcoin, where we just went through a crypto winter last year where there were a lot of companies that maybe made $500 or $1,000 per Bitcoin. Some companies lost money per Bitcoin. So, that as that gap continues, the Bitcoin miners become more, and their gross profit gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and the leverage play should theoretically continue to grow. Now, the slower Bitcoin grows, the less effect that will have. But I've always counted on, in my head, I always count on it being a 3x leverage to Bitcoin. Some are going to do way better than that. Some are going to fail. So again, you gotta be in the right stock, as with anything else.
Because I'm just wondering if I should just take and pop another little bit of money.
Mark Twain saying, right now could be the best time to buy miners. Bitcoin miners lag Bitcoin and have a potential to X leverage. So, yeah, I mean, I agree. Especially the ones, we looked at I'm going to go back to that list because I think this is valuable information. This is why I do it. To me, I'm not going to go buy DigiHost. It's already up 361% this year. And that doesn't mean it's not a great investment. So I'm not knocking DigiHost. I'm just looking at this going, wait a second. They're already up 361% this year. Maybe that's not the first place I want to put my money.
Question, as you say that, with HUT, do you think that's going to be a problem?
HUT is a little bit more of a gamble than it used to be. Now, here's why I think there's one reason it's not a gamble. They have 9,000 Bitcoin on their balance sheet. So just from a strength of balance sheet alone, their mining is way down. They're hardly mining any Bitcoin at all at this point. They're in the middle of a potential merger that should increase their mining capacity significantly. It will diversify them between Canada and the United States instead of being completely in Canada. It's going to diversify their energy mix, all those things. But, there's a lot of people that haven't made up their mind whether that's a good deal or not, because they're doing it as a merger of equals. So effectively, that's 50% dilution. So are they getting 50% value in return for that? Now, the reason I say some of the risk is taken out of that is because no matter what happens, they still have 9,000 Bitcoin. So they're still worth that. Plus
how much
whatever
is
else.
9,000 Bitcoin?
Well, it depends what Bitcoin's trading at.
I know. Hang on, I'm looking it up. It's $252 million.
Million. So their market cap, to put it in perspective, right now, and then their market cap's $371 million, but if they're going to do a merger of equals, that means they're going to double their outstanding stock, and, that's going to double their market cap. So is their stock going to take a big hit from that? I don't know.
Have you heard or seen any news regarding the ETF for Bitcoin?
Bitcoin ETF, the only news that I know about is that Grayscale is suing, and they're pursuing that vigorously, but I have not seen any actual updated information on how that's going. And
is Grayscale still down?
I don't know what the current discount is. Yeah, there's still a big discount. I'm not sure what the latest and greatest discount is.
What about MicroStrategy? If you had $50,000, would you put it in MicroStrategy or would you put it in CleanSpark?
I am going to do... I'm going to do a deep dive on MicroStrategy. That is on my list. So one of the next 5 or 6 videos I do is going to be MicroStrategy. I like MicroStrategy. I think it's a good, if you want to diversify across assets, I think MicroStrategy is in a good position to take a nice run up. I think it's not the leveraged play that it is that some of the Bitcoin miners will be, right? Because they just simply, they have, remember, when MicroStrategy buys Bitcoin, they buy it at the spot price. So, you know, if you thought of them as a miner per se, then their cost per coin right now is $28,000. While the miner's cost per coin is significantly less than that. Now, by the time you factor in overhead and all that other stuff, maybe that equation gets a little bit closer. But I will do a deep dive on MicroStrategy. I have it on our big board because it's certainly one of the plays, you know, holding Bitcoin directly, holding MicroStrategy, what you talked about, GBTC, the Grayscale Trust, that's a great play, and it looks like they're saying right now it's down to a 34% discount. So if we had bought that when we talked about it, we'd made 15 extra percent just for nothing.
Right.
Right, because this was at 49. I think it might have even got up to 50 or 51. So, and 34% is still a huge discount because one day, if this converts to an ETF, that 34% discount is going to go to 0. And Brent is pointing out the fact that Bitcoin ETFs are available on TSX in Canada, which is true. There's just none available in the United States on none of the U.S. exchanges at this point.
What is an ETF?
It can be any. It's a fund, and it holds. You know, you got to read what it holds, but it can hold anything. It can be. You can do a. You know, there's right now there's like a negative Kathy Wood ETF. So it's everything she invests in, that fund shorts. There's, you know, then there's leveraged ETFs. So those companies obviously are taking, you know, there's a leverage on the S&P 500, the SPY. There's a 3x leverage. There's a leverage on the financials, on the, you know, technology stocks. So it can be anything. They just have to disclose what it is, but it's usually a basket of things instead of a single thing, but they all have something in common. Now, a Bitcoin ETF would literally just hold Bitcoin.
So okay, here's my last question of the night. If somebody was offering to give me Bitcoin, but they want to give it to me off network, you know, wallet to wallet, is that acceptable to do?
I don't see why it's not acceptable to do. I'm less see, this if you ask somebody that trades a lot more cryptocurrency than I do, they'd probably say no problem, do it. I'm less comfortable because it's just outside of my comfort zone. I haven't done that. I know if I go through Coinbase and I buy a Bitcoin, I don't have any worries that I'm going to end up with a Bitcoin.
Mine is going to be a very, very good discount.
If you can buy it at a discount, and then yeah, I mean,
I'm just curious. Inquiring mind wants to know.
So you can see how sideways we are. We are very, 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 very sideways. This is where we were yesterday when the equity markets closed. So no, equities did not trade today in the United States and Canada. I don't know if they traded elsewhere in Europe. We have some people from Europe that can let me know if you guys were trading today. But Bitcoin itself, I mean, this range is incredibly small. Like we've been within $100 of $28,000 for almost 24 hours. That is a tight range.
Michael, you'll be interested to know I owned a golf course in Fairburn, Georgia, which was probably like 45 minutes away from Columbus, Georgia. I'm sure you know where that is. I kind of live in Atlanta. Kinda.
A little
Kinda.
here, a little there.
I have brought BTC wallet to wallet. But question, but have you sold it? That's the question. Have you brought it back up off of network and sold it? They released the data this morning on CNBC. You buy a discount like that, it's probably proceeds of crime like kidnapping or tax evasion. I hope it's not kidnapping or tax evasion.
Well, I mean,
How is there a way to find out?
that's the whole
Bitcoin-
point. There's not a way to find out.
These are corrupted Bitcoin.
And I've seen a lot of people talk in depth about that. I don't think you're ever going to see Bitcoin tagged as clean or dirty, if you will.
Dirty, rotten.
I think a
filthy
Bitcoin
miners.
will be a Bitcoin at the end of the day. Having said that, obviously you don't want to support horrible criminal activity by, participating in the exchange of those.
Tom, we failed.
We did?
51 likes.
Oh yeah.
The streak is over with.
And we
Out.
decisively failed. This was not even close. We got crushed.
We did.
So we've been having 100 likes every live stream.
So we are going next time we will be up will be what? Unless something major happens.
I mean, the market's open on Monday. In the past, we have done Monday morning live streams, but only if we hit certain marks on our Friday. And definitely this Friday, I don't think we hit. This was one of our... And I think it has everything to do with the fact that it's a holiday. And thank you, everybody who is here on the stream with us, especially the members. And welcome to 15 new members.
Woohoo!
Today.
Hang on, I got to say something to Michael. Michael, if you ever need anything, reach out to us on Discord. It's Talking Investing. I think it's right here, right? Here's the link.
Yeah, if you go to YouTube, there's a link to the email. So, if you want to,
Yeah, if you ever need anything. I run a company called emergencywaterremoval.com. And we do a ton of construction in Atlanta. I mean, I don't know. I think we're going to do like 10 kitchens this month. But we don't do kitchens.
You don't do kitchens, but you do.
Like 40 floors. My brother even died with cancer and doctor took Akinine, which I had found. Oh, that's good. Well, I'm going to say goodbye and happy Easter to everybody.
Thank you. Thank you, George.
It was fun. I hope it was educational for you guys, because it was for me. I keep getting added by a person. Oh, yeah. That's the thing, Tom. Have you noticed that? People always try to add, like they're saying, "Hey, this is Tom."
My
And something
Discord
about,
handle
do you
is
want to have a good time?
What? There's a way to tell if it's me. Let me see what that way is.
I can tell you right now, it's not Tom.
If I'm doing anything other than just contributing to the conversation, then it's not me, because I'm not soliciting anybody to do anything. I'm not asking you to private message me. I don't do any of those things. Everything that I do is here. So yes, please be careful. And at the lengths that people go to pretend, I mean, there must be people that it's their life just pretending to be 1,000 other people, because it happens every day. I'm deleting people that are doing that. So yeah. Phonebookson said Tom will never send DMs, and that is true. I don't even. My tech support has it set up so that I can't even do that by accident, just in case. So. And Phonebookson is saying on any platform. So. Yeah, I will answer comments, but you'll always see, particularly on YouTube, I know that there's like a gray, I'm shaded in gray or something so that you know that it's me, because there's 100 posts a day of people stealing my picture and answering, comments on YouTube. But those are all fake. And you can see because they're usually just got some weird characters in them, or they're asking you to reach out to them. And I don't do any of those things. Plus, which YouTube does put, I think it makes my, like, the bubble gray or something to show that it's actually me. Keith said, thanks, everyone. Thank you, Keith. Let me switch. That should have got rid of George's box. He is gone. Do you think the number of Bitcoin lost every year will become a problem at some point? I think they've talked about the fact there's millions of Bitcoin. I've heard 4 million have been lost already. I've heard other numbers than that. I think less and less Bitcoin are going to get lost going forward. So I think most of the Bitcoin that have been lost, I would say significantly less Bitcoin are going to get lost from today going forward than have been lost to date. Because there's so much more awareness around this now, right? Bitcoin for many, many years was next to worthless. So, there were people buying pizzas with it, as everybody famously knows, and whatever else the case may be. And in the process, a lot of it was just completely lost. There are some high-profile cases of people that lost hundreds of millions of dollars of Bitcoin. But there will be some more that are lost. I mean, there's no way around it. You make the mistake and your Bitcoin is lost, right? If you take it off and you can't get into your wallet or you lose it, then that's it. And they're gone. Once they're gone, they're gone. So the theoretical supply of Bitcoin is 21 million Bitcoin when they're done, but that is minus however many have been lost forever. So it's really going to be, whatever, 17 million or 16 million or 15 million, some other number. And then if you look at the analytics, most of those Bitcoin are already in wallets that have been, out of dormant for years. So the actual daily trading supply of Bitcoin is already very low, and I think that's going to get lower and lower. So that's my opinion. That's what seems to be happening. So, all right. Thanks, everybody. Congratulations to the 15 winners of members. Welcome aboard. You can check out the videos that are already there. And then there's a little tutorial on how to connect to get into the private members only Discord as well. And so for everybody that is a member, we can see you. We will do our Tuesday members only live stream when the market closes. And then of course we'll do our regular live stream next week on Friday. And then if something crazy is happening, I will try to give everybody notice if we do an impromptu live stream. We've been adding 1 or 2 a week, but not in any methodology, just kind of when stuff happens. So I think that's what we're going to do for now. Maybe we'll figure out a more direct schedule on a going forward basis. Michael, they're getting lost literally. Like, let's say you download your Bitcoin into cold storage, and you two things can happen. Number one, let's say you throw it in the garbage. The one guy, it got thrown in the garbage. He was trying to sue the city to go through the city dump and find it. Or if you forget your password and can't get back into your wallet, there's no fixing that problem. It's just gone. So it's one little bit more complicated than I'm saying, but essentially, if you forget your password, your Bitcoin's you can have the piece of hardware that it's stored on, but it's of no use. You can't get back to the Bitcoin ever. And Brent is saying discarded hard drives mostly. People die without passing them on. Right, that's a good point. All right, so thanks everybody. Have a great weekend. Happy Easter to those who are celebrating. To everybody else, enjoy your weekend. And thanks again, and we will see you. So we'll see members on the Tuesday live stream, and I will be putting videos out this weekend. So